So we're now on individuals earning both from compensation and from self-employment or business or practice of profession. For mixed income earners, the income tax rates applicable are the graduated tax rates under Section 24 for compensation income, and for income from business or practice of profession, he has the option to be taxed at graduated income tax rates prescribed under Section 24 or 8% income tax rate based on gross receipts or gross sales and other non-operating income in lieu of the graduated income tax rates. Paano makaka-avail ng 8% income tax rate and receipts and other non-operating income? So, ang 8% i-apply natin sa gross receipt plus other non-operating income. So, what are the conditions para magamit natin tong option na to? Kasi kung di natin gagamitin tong option na to, ang gagamitin na tax rate will be the graduated income tax rates under Section 24. For compensation income, ang gagamitin talaga Section 24. For business income, merong option to use the graduated tax rates or the 8% tax based on gross receipts and other non-operating income. Income from business or practice of profession should be subject to the following conditions in order that business may avail the percent gross receipt tax. If the gross sales or receipts and other non-operating income do not exceed the VAT threshold. So, kailangan hindi mag-exceed sa VAT threshold. Ang threshold ngayon ng VAT ay 3 million. If the gross sales or receipts and other non-operating income exceed the VAT threshold, the individual shall be subject to graduated income tax rate. Now, kahit na hindi nag-exceed sa 3 million threshold, VAT threshold, yung gross receipts and other non-operating income ng business, hindi pa rin siya makaka-avail ng 8% kung VAT registered siya. Kasi may mga VAT registered na below 3 million yung gross receipts nila. So kung ang registration ay VAT, hindi pwedeng mag-avail ng 8% income tax rates on gross sales, receipts, and other non-operating income. Ang haba ng title, no? Ang title ng 8% ay 8% income tax rate on gross sales or receipts and other non-operating income. Kasi yun yung covered niya eh. Gross sales or receipts and other non-operating income. Kung merong compensation at saka may self-employment or business, we do not allow on the business the 250,000. Kasi ang assumption doon, yung 250,000 na apply na doon sa compensation income. Kukomputan natin ng 8% at babawasan natin ng 250 exemption, kailangan purely business income lang yan or purely practice of profession income lang. Kapag ka may compensation income na kasama, hindi na babawasan ng 250,000 yung business income. Diretso nang ia-apply yung 8% income tax rate on gross receipts, gross sales or receipts, and other non-operating income. Paano ba ito paiigsiin? Napakahaba ng title. Let me call this na lang 8% income tax rate on GSR and OP. GSR and OP. So, pag sinabi kong 8% on GSR and OP, ito na yung tax rate na 8%. Makaka-avail lang ng 8% GSR and OP kung purely business income. Once may kasamang compensation income, assumed na yung 250 na i-minus na dun sa compensation income. What if the compensation is not more than 250? May crossover ba ng balance? Wala. Walang crossover ng balance. Okay? Hindi pwedeng yung hindi nagamit na portion dun sa 250 ay i-apply sa business income. No, there is no provision for that. On the contrary, hindi daw pwedeng i-crossover or i-apply yung excess under the said graduated tax rates, the excess of the 250 over the actual taxable income is not deductible against the taxable income from business, practice, or profession under the 8% income tax rate option. So, yun. Very clear. Hindi pwedeng A minus. The total tax due shall be the sum of the tax due from compensation computed using the graduated income tax rates and the tax due from self-employment or practice of profession resulting from the multiplication of the 8% income tax rate with the total of the gross sales receipts and other non-operating income. Mixed income earner who opted to be taxed under the graduated income tax rates for income from business or practice of professions shall combine the taxable income from both compensation and business or practice of profession in computing for the total taxable income and consequently the income tax due. So, ang scenario, yung isa, nag-avail siya ng 8%. So, kung nag-avail ng 8%, separate yung computation ng compensation tsaka ng business income. Kasi hindi pwedeng pagsamahin dahil magkaiba ng tax rates. Now, kung yung business income ay hindi naman gumamit ng 8% income tax rate, sasamahin na lang yung gross compensation at saka yung business income to compute for the income tax due kasi pareho naman yung tax rates na gagamitin graduated tax rates ang gagamitin. So, dapat i-add kasi it was mandated here Mixed income earner who opted to be taxed under the graduated income tax rate for the shall, kumbaga, mandatory, dapat ganun ang gagawin. Pero kasi kung iisipin mo kung accountant ka, pwede mong paghiwalayin para bumaba yung tax rate mo. Kasi yung compensation mo, nasa subject sa mas mababang rate. Kasi kung bababa yung income mo pag dinivide mo yung income mo, bababa yung rate applicable Pero pag kinambine mo yan, pataas kasi ng pataas yung tax rate. So, lalaki yung tax na babayaran mo. Pero dito kasi sabi, pag mixed income earner shall, mandatory yung term, hindi sinabing may combine. So, ang rule is to really combine the compensation income and the business income to apply the graduated tax rate. So, be careful with that. Noon kasi parang pwedeng paghiwalayan yung compensation tsaka business income. So, you can apply a lesser tax rate on the business income. Pero this time, mandatory na pagsamahin. So, let's study the illustration presented here. Mr. Mag, a financial controller of JAB Company, earned annual compensation in 2018 of 1,500,000, inclusive of 13-month and other benefits in the amount of 120,000. But net of mandatory contributions to SSS, aside from employment income, he owns a convenience store with gross sales of 2,400,000. His cost of sales and operating expenses are 1,600,000 respectively. Non-operating income of 100,000. His tax due for 2018 shall be computed as follows. If he opted to be taxed at 8% income tax rate on his gross sales from his gross income from business. So, anong sabi natin? Pagka nag-avail siya ng 8% income tax rate, separate yung computation ng compensation income at saka ng business income. So here, the total compensation is 1,500,000. And then meron siyang non-taxable 13-month pay benefits maximum of 90,000. Dito kasi sa problem, sabi yun kasama na yung sa 1,500,000 Lahat ng benefits niya, pero wag lang yung contribution sa SSS at PhilHealth na i-deduct na yon. Ang nandito, yung 90,000. Yun yung assumption. Di lahat ma-minusan natin ng 90,000. Ito lang, sinabi kasi kasama dito sa 1,500,000 yung non-taxable 13-month pay and other benefits. Yung net taxable compensation income niya will be 1,410,000 na lang. Computation of the tax due will be on 800, yun yung bracket, di ba? Yung 1,410,000 doon sa bracket na 800,000 and above. On 800, merong 130,000 tax due. In excess of 800, merong 30,000 tax due. So, So, 1,400,000 minus 800 times 30. This is the remaining tax. So, i-add natin dun sa 130, we have 313,000 tax due on compensation income. Now, we go to the business income. So, magkano yung gross sales receipts niya? 2,400,000 plus may other non-operating income siya. 2,500,000 lahat times 8%. The business tax due will be 200,000. The total tax due will be the business tax due and the compensation income tax due. So we have 313 plus 200,000. We have 513,000. With the explanation, the option of 8% income tax rate is applicable only to taxpayers' income from business, and the same is in view of the income tax under the graduated income tax rate and the percentage tax. So, kung nag-avail ng 8% income tax, hindi na magbabayad ng percentage tax. Hindi subject sa VAT yung business, VAT is 12% of the selling price. Kung hindi subject sa VAT, ang applicable business tax sa business na yon ay 3%. So, every month, magbabayad ng 3% on gross sales or receipt yung business sa BAR instead of the 12% VAT. Okay, the 250,000 mentioned above is already incorporated in the first tier of the graduated income tax rates applicable to compensation income. His tax due for 2018 shall be computed as follows. If he did not opt for the 8%, so paano natin ko-compute? Applying the graduated tax rate instead of the 8% tax rate. So, ito yung total compensation niya minus yung exclusion. Ito, we call this exclusion from gross income. So, we have this gross taxable income, compensation income. Now, yung gross sales niya, na-compute natin as 2,400,000 minus 1,000,000. We have 1,400,000 less operating expenses. We have the net income from operation plus other non-operating expense. So, itong total business income natin, i-add natin sa compensation income natin to arrive at the total taxable income. At saka pa lang natin i-apply yung tax table. O, hindi na siya nagbumagsak dun sa on 800,000. Nandun siya sa 2 million bracket na. On 2 million, meron na siyang 490,000. In excess of 2 million, 32%. 310,000 times 32%. We have 99,200. 589,200 yung total income tax for the business. Lahat na to, kasama na kasi yung compensation dito at saka yung business. So, ito na, isang computation na lang, 589,200. Compare natin dun sa isa. Mas maliit, no? 513,000. Ito, 589,000. So, may advantage. In some cases, hindi lahat ng cases, mababa yung may 8%. So, pag-aaralang mabuti. Kasi in this case, mas mataas yung tax rates lahat kesa dun sa may 8% tax. Plus, magbabayad pa siya ng 2,400,000 yung sales niya. At yung gross sales niya, 2,400,000. Subject pa yan sa 3% percentage tax. Malaking bawas sa taxes itong 8% tax in most businesses. So, bagong option na 8%. Another example, on February 2019, taxpayer tendered his resignation to concentrate on his business. His total compensation income amounted to 150,000, inclusive of benefits of 20,000. His business operations for taxable year 2019 remains the same. He opted for the 8% income tax rate. So, yung example natin sa taas, at this time, ang kanyang compensation income is 150,000 lang. Meron pa siyang exclusions from gross income ng taxable benefits. So, 130,000 na lang. There will be no tax on this because ang exemption is 250. Ito, 130 lang yung income niya. Pero, kung titignan ninyo, merong 120 na excess yung exemption. Now, yung gross sales niya times rate, meron siyang 200,000 na tax due and payable. Pero look at the example, hindi na ma-minus itong 130 dito sa 2,500,000 to arrive at 8%. Sineset aside na to, hindi na kino-consider. Walang crossover. Kung kulang kung sobra man, wala na. Maganda kung sa ganung situation, mag-ano ka na lang, Huwag ka na mag 8%, mag-ano ka na lang, graduated tax rate para ma-apply mo yung 250,000. Pero kung malaki yung gross receipts mo, lugi pa rin. So, you study very well kung saan makakatipid. Iko-compute mo talaga pareho. You cannot assume. Illustration number 8. Mr. WBV, an officer of AMBS International Corporation, earned 218 as annual compensation, 1,200,000 inclusive of 13-month and other benefits in the amount of 120,000. Aside from the employment income, he owns a farm with gross sales of 3,500,000. His cost of sales and operating expenses are 1,600,000 respectively, with non-operating income of 100,000. So analyze natin. Meron siyang annual compensation na 1,200,000 inclusive of VAT. Meron din siyang business. Anong option meron siya? Pero kasi 3,500,000 na yung kanyang gross sales eh. So more than the threshold na ito. Hindi na siya pwede mag-avail ng 8% kasi ang threshold sa 8% is 3 million. So in this case, graduated tax rates na talaga yung gagamitin niya. Wala na siyang option. The taxpayer has no option to avail. So, kukumputin nyo na lang based on the graduated tax sales at kasama na yung VAT doon. This time, subject siya sa VAT kasi 3 million yung business income niya. Yun lang yung distinction doon. Gross sales niya, 3,500,000. Hindi na siya makaka-avail ng 8% at subject na siya sa VAT. Graduated tax rate na gagamitin sa kanya. So, i-add na yung compensation income at saka yung business income to compute for the tax